Good morning, everyone. And I would like to welcome you to the Focus on Fleet Safety Training Informational Session. I am Dr. Porscha Jackson. I am the Business Development Manager with the City of Houston's Office of Business Opportunity. And I'm so glad to be here in partnership with Together for Safer Roads, TSR, and Houston Vision Zero to bring you a great small business development, small and mid-sized business development program. Here at OBO, our key objectives is to help you to grow, connect you to the resources, and to educate you. Through our OBO Solutions Center, we are able to connect you with the resources that you need. For example, funding, mentorship, bidding opportunities, as well as networking opportunities and any other information to grow and start your business. Through our business development programming, we're able to educate you, whether you are starting your business, you want to maintain your business, or scale your business. And everything that we do in collaboration with our certification program and our contracts compliance division, it is here to help you to grow. And today is no exception. We are going to be sharing some information about a program that even if you just have 2 vehicles, how you can have better fleet safety training and best practices through technology. So before we get started, just want to do some housekeeping. For one, this session is being recorded. And also, please make sure that you maintain your line on mute so that we can make sure we hear all the information. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, make sure you type them in the chat feature. Questions, comments, we'll take those, and we'll have a Q&A portion towards the end, and we'll address those questions, as well as if you want to vocalize your questions, then just go ahead and raise your hand, and we'll get to those during the Q&A portion, as well as we are broadcasting live on Facebook. So hello to everybody on Facebook, and we want you to be engaged as well. So if you have any comments or questions, definitely post those, and we'll get those addressed as well. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and get into this and introduce our partners who are going to speak to you about the program and give you all the details. Immediately following me, it will be Lauren Grove. So we're going to tell you more about the Houston Vision Zero as well. Then we'll move on to the 2 Davids, David Braunstein and David Frick, who will go into the details of the program. So Lauren, welcome, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Porscha, and thanks everyone for joining today. I'm Lauren Grove. I'm a senior staff analyst at the City of Houston, Houston Public Works. And I'm going to talk a bit about Vision Zero and sort of the 30,000-foot view of why it's important to focus on fleet safety. So Vision Zero is a global strategy to end traffic deaths and serious injuries. And there are about 45 US cities who are actively pursuing Vision Zero, meaning they've adopted this goal to end traffic deaths and serious injuries. And Houston is one of them, so we're joining a Vision Zero network. Vision Zero also says that traffic deaths are preventable and they're unacceptable. So right now, how we're approaching traffic safety is that we're calling them accidents and accident supplies. There's nothing that we can do to prevent them, but Vision Zero says that's not true because it isn't. We can prevent people from dying on our roadways, and it's unacceptable the number of people that are dying from traffic crashes. It also acknowledges that we're humans and we make mistakes, that crashes will happen, but that doesn't mean people should die in those events. And Vision Zero really focuses on equity. So thinking about where the most traffic deaths and serious injuries are occurring and investing resources, time, and community engagement in those areas to outweigh that disproportionate impact. Next slide, please. So what does that mean for Houston? We have committed to ending traffic deaths and serious injuries by 2030, and it builds on a paradigm shift that current Mayor Turner has been talking about and building towards. So really making it safe for everyone to move around the city and improving mobility for people who walk, bike, take transit, drive. So in order for us to be multimodal in that way, to have a variety of options to move around Houston, we first have to make it safe. We have to allow people to connect to those options. And it really focuses on designing streets that are safe and accessible for people of all ages and abilities. So designing streets that are safe for children or older adults who may need more time crossing the street, or people with varying abilities, people who use a wheelchair. And focusing investments on vulnerable communities in Houston. These are communities that are low income, minority, no vehicle households, who have been disproportionately impacted by traffic deaths and serious injuries. And then lastly, it's really framing traffic deaths as a public health issue, because it is. So if you look at numbers of people who've died in traffic crashes, not only in Houston, but across the US, it's about 40,000 people per year. And that is not always approached from a public health lens in the same way when we think about other public health issues like cancer or heart disease. There's a lot of research and funding and preventative measures that go towards those public health issues, but we don't quite treat traffic deaths in the same way. And so it's really shifting our focus on looking at this from that preventative lens when we're thinking about traffic deaths, because we know we can prevent people from dying on our roadways. Next slide. So talking a little bit more about the problem here in Houston specifically, every other day somebody is dying in a traffic crash on Houston streets. And 3 people every day are being seriously injured. So that means, these are incapacitating injuries, making it really difficult for people to carry out their daily routines. And I want to note here that in 2020, just this last year with COVID and fewer cars on the road, we actually have had the most traffic deaths on our roadways in the past decade. I know this bar graph doesn't show that, but we've had the highest number of traffic deaths despite there being fewer vehicles on the road. So it's ever more important that we really focus on preventative strategy and a strategic approach to traffic deaths. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in the next couple of slides. So if you go to the next slide. And so not only are we seeing people dying in traffic crashes every other day in Houston, but it's disproportionately impacting certain populations. So on the left, this circular chart here shows who's walking, biking, driving in Houston. Specifically, this is from the census, so people reporting how they get to work. So almost 90% of Houstonians are reporting that they drive to work. 2% report walking, and about 0.4% report biking. Yet, if we look at traffic deaths, people walking and biking represent 35% of that. So there are very few people walking and biking to work, yet there are a lot of them who are involved in severe crashes. So we really need to focus on those vulnerable road users, people walking and biking, because they are being disproportionately impacted. Next slide. And I talked a little bit about sort of the vulnerable communities and focusing on where the most traffic deaths and serious injuries are occurring. That's a big part of Vision Zero, is figuring out the streets where we're seeing the highest number of traffic deaths and serious injuries, and where are they occurring? Who in our communities are being the most impacted? So in red, these red lines are the streets with the most traffic deaths and serious injuries in Houston. And what we found is that 60% of traffic deaths and serious injuries are occurring on just 6% of Houston streets. So those red lines are 6% of Houston streets. So it's a really small subset of streets, which allows us to really target measures on that subset first, where we're seeing the most problem. Additionally, what you'll see in gray are communities that are more vulnerable and require more investment. So these are communities that are, below poverty, low income, mostly minority, and no vehicle households. So a lot of the resources that we need to maintain a quality of life, these communities are just, they have been historically disadvantaged in investment. And what we found is that those dangerous streets are majority in these more vulnerable communities. And so we're really, when we think about equity, that's really where we want to focus, is on our more vulnerable communities, where we're seeing a lot of these severe crashes occurring, and targeting our investments there. Next slide. And so how do we do this? This is a lot. Houston is huge. There's so much that we could do. And what we've found when we've done community engagement around Vision Zero, and we've talked to stakeholders and our partners like Harris County and Metro, who are doing really great work around safe streets, there are four main themes that have come up that are really integral to Vision Zero and Vision Zero Houston. It focuses on communication, so how we talk about safe streets, how even just changing from saying accident to crash, and how we communicate with media and news outlets about traffic crashes, about our streets, is really, really important. And how we share this message with the broader community and have the community have a place where their voice is heard and where they work in partnership with us. We are focusing a lot on safe systems, and that's really just a nice way of saying the city internally needs to think about our policies and programs that really focus on safe streets, that really focuses on streets that are for everybody, for people of all ages and abilities. So that policy and programming is really what we're talking about when we're talking about safe systems. And safe speed. So speed is a huge, huge factor in severe crashes. It is the largest contributing factor when we're talking about traffic deaths and serious injuries. And it's only just small increments of speed that actually can change whether somebody survives, is seriously injured, or walks away from a crash. And we know that this is a huge issue everywhere. It's no different in Houston. And so we want to focus on safe speeds. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when I talk about a specific action related to vehicle safety. And then finally, programming. And that means setting goals and standards that we can measure ourselves against and find metrics for success. So next slide. So I wanted to pull out from our action plan that was released in December of 2020. So you can go and check it out online, visionzerohouston.com. You can read all 50 actions in there, but there are two that are really important for this conversation that we've been really grateful to work with Together for Safer Roads, our other city departments, to focus on fleet safety. So how does fleet safety fit into Vision Zero? Why should we care about that? Well, there's a big part of vehicle safety, a big component of that when we're thinking about technology, when we're thinking about how those pieces of technology influence programs and policy, that can really play an integral role in Vision Zero and the ultimate goal of ending traffic deaths. So the city of Houston has a fleet of vehicles. There are many other businesses that we work with, small-sized businesses, huge corporations, which have fleets, which have people, drivers operating those fleets on a daily basis, using our streets in different ways. So it's really important that we address and have a strategy in our Vision Zero action plan. And so our first is an internal look at City of Houston fleets using existing technology to track speed. As I mentioned before, that's a huge factor. Looking at our fleet management practices, looking at the technology available, the number of vehicles, and adjusting our internal policies. So we need to set that standard for ourselves as well. And then the other action is why we're here today. It's really starting to better partner with our Houston business community and thinking about safe fleet management and a program. And with that, I will turn it over to David Braunstein, who's going to talk a little bit more about what that program looks like. I'm not going to turn it over quite yet. There's one more slide. Thank you. I just wanted to tie this back to the bigger picture here. So acknowledging the work that has been done related to resiliency and climate action and our Complete Communities initiative. So both the Resilient Houston Plan, the Houston Climate Action Plan, and Complete Communities all talk about Vision Zero, all talk about the need to create this paradigm shift, because there are so many other benefits when we make our streets safer for everybody. We are able to, people feel more empowered to walk, bike places, to maybe leave their car at home for a couple of trips. And we know that has so many other benefits, not only health-wise, but for our environment. And this all Vision Zero ties into the great work that's already been done and acknowledged in these other plans, and to our broader community's vision for a healthy and resilient neighborhoods. So now with that, I'll turn it over to David Braunstein to talk about their efforts and fleet safety.
Thanks, Lauren. Thanks, Lauren. And thanks again to you all for the work that you're doing, and certainly to the Office of Business Opportunity for partnering with us to start to get this program out to the Houston community. It's been a wonderful partnership with both of you, so thanks for that. So I will literally be 5 minutes just to give you an overview who Together Safe Roads is. We're not exactly a household name. That's fine by us. We are a business coalition, actually. So we also refer to ourselves as a corporate social accelerator. All right. So we bring businesses together for the sole purpose of trying to find ways that the private sector can contribute to road safety initiatives. So we work with a lot of companies that have technology, data, and expertise to bring to our coalition to help prevent crashes, injuries, and fatalities around the world. We have 3 very critical programs that we've launched over the last 5 years as we've started to come into our own. The first one is Safer Cities, which is clearly a part of the work that we do with Houston and helping the city to create a robust Vision Zero plan. But as you will learn today, we also have spent a lot of time collecting our knowledge and creating this focus on fleet safety program, which we're offering to the fleet operating community free of charge as a part of the work that we do, so that other fleet operators can become excellent and keep their businesses safe and their employees safe and the communities that they operate in safe. And then last but not least, we do some work in data and digital innovation, which we now call our Safer Road Studio. And that's a whole separate area where we explore innovation as a way to accelerate safety outcomes. So that's a little bit about our programs and who we are. The Focus on Fleet Safety program was founded because many of the companies that actually are part of Together for Safe Roads, have a very strong connection to fleets. And so we specifically noted a couple of years ago that we could take a more proactive posture when it comes to helping other fleet operators, smaller fleet operators in particular, to learn from what our coalition knows about operating fleets. So, in creating the Focus program, we work closely with board members like Republic Services and Anheuser-Busch InBev and CalAmp. And we worked with a lot of other companies like UPS and PepsiCo, New York City's fleet, and some of these other technology companies noted here, Samsara, Geotab, and Autoliv, to really create this curriculum and find ways to bring it to this community of small and mid-sized fleets that we think we can help. And then we also work with some experts like the Volpe Center of the United States Department of Transportation and a couple of consulting firms and the like to really round out our own expertise. But so we've spent the better part of a year or two, I'd say, if you go back even further to our own research phase, bringing this program together. And again, our whole purpose is to really share out so that communities like Houston with very meaningful fleet operating communities can actually benefit from our work. And that's what we're here to tell you about today. So how can you get something out of this focus program that we're bringing to Houston? Next slide, Dave. And just to be clear, who we are targeting, not that it's exclusive to this, but when we did our research around who might benefit the most from a program like this, we found that there is a gap that exists in the smaller fleets. We define it typically as 2 to 100 vehicles. And although on the slide it says class 2 and above, I think as Lauren was saying about the sort of disproportionality of road safety, fleet operators that are operating larger vehicles, they may still be small companies, but they do carry an outsized risk with them on the roads. And that applies both to their own employees, but also to other community members who they have to share the roads with. So, we want to help fleet operators with vehicles of all types, but generally speaking, the larger the vehicles you're operating, the more risk you have on the roads, both for yourselves and for the community. So this is just who we're trying to help. And we know that there are literally millions of these kinds of businesses out in the United States, as well as around the world. And in Houston, there are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of professional private sector operators. And, we're here to help. So that's what David will tell you more about and how we're going to try to share our knowledge with you all.
Thank you, David. Okay, so Together for Safer Roads, we've developed this focus on fleet safety program, like they said, to help small to mid-sized fleets. And this is a way that these fleets can get involved with Vision Zero, which is a big reason why we're bringing it to Houston. And we've developed this program and we've split it up into 3 main pillars, which is leadership, training and development, and technology. So I'll walk through these pillars and hopefully that'll give you a good sense of the focus program and how it could possibly help your organization. So we'll start with leadership. And leadership is the beginning of the focus program. And so a new participant will fill out a safety systems and culture survey. And so this is to assess the culture within your organization. And if you have a safety culture currently in place, and to see where your strengths and weaknesses are. And once we have the results from that survey, we move to step 2, where the leaders of your organization will attend a safety leadership workshop. And in this workshop, we work with you, we learn about your organization, and from there, you will leave this workshop with an action plan based off your survey results. And that leads to step 4, where you take these survey results and your action plan to your organization and start to implement it and start building this safety culture. And we help you along this process through, support and monthly different safety campaigns throughout the month. And that leads us to the second pillar of the focus program, which is training and development. And this is primarily focused on your management level employees and as well as your drivers. The first step is the management level employees will receive some training similar to your leadership employees. And this is to help them understand why safety is important, understand that the safety culture and building it is a foundational piece to getting better results on the road with your drivers. This also is important because your management will learn how to train your drivers using technology and help, build their confidence and instill the idea of a professional driver and, help motivate them to take it seriously. Step 2 of training and development is the actual defensive driving with your drivers. And we have partnered with a great organization that provides a lot of different driver training. And this driver training can be done on a computer or a mobile phone. So if a driver's taking a break, they can knock out a training lesson in 5 to 10 minutes. It's really designed and geared towards working around their schedule. And another benefit is you can pick and choose what defensive driving your drivers take. So for example, our New York-based cohort, they're all taking defensive driving of large vehicles in an urban setting. And this might be less applicable to Houston, but we have other examples of defensive driving and driving safety in extreme weather conditions, because I know you all in Houston are painfully aware of how dramatic Houston's weather can be. So that's the flexibility that this program offers, which is a really good tool to make sure that it fits your organization and to help it grow in the way it needs to. And the third step is the monthly safety campaign. So we help move you along through this initiative, and this really sets the tone top down that, hey, safety is something that we're going to pay attention to. This is important, and it's not something that we're going to do for one weekend and then forget about it. It's going to become second nature within your organization, and working in that safety mindset. So, this is an example of the training portal. So like you said, on a desktop and a mobile phone. So it's really flexible, trying to fit within your organization, because, I know everyone's busy with their primary objectives. So this program is really designed to work with you and your busy schedule and not be too onerous in its time commitment. The third pillar is technology. And, we really emphasize that the training and development, the leadership training is key for having a successful technology implementation of safety technology on your vehicles. You can install safety technology on your vehicles, but that doesn't mean that you're now a safe organization. You have to learn how to use it correctly, understand what data to pay attention to. And this is where we help out as well. So the first step is we have a guide that we've created with the help of our safety experts from the US Department of Transportation, as well as our safety consultants. And this guide will help your organization select a technology that is right for your fleet. And we have 4 different technology providers that you can choose from. They all have the same basic safety data that they collect, but they also have, they do it in slightly different ways. And then they also have, a few extra features that help distinguish them from each other. So, we'll walk you through and make sure that you pick the one that makes the most sense for your organization. And the second step is then installing that technology. So we have expert help in installing and implementing the technology in your fleet and making sure that it's installed correctly and that you're getting, the most use out of that technology. And the third step is just supporting you as you're using this technology, as your drivers are driving with the vehicles, and making sure that, you're paying attention to data that makes sense for your organization. And, all of this is free. So, something to definitely keep in mind as I continue. So those are our 3 main pillars, and what we're giving you is a very comprehensive program to build a safety culture within your organization and have that technology and learning how to use that technology. So we're providing all of this for free, and how we're doing this is what Dave Braunstein talked about earlier, was Together for Safer Roads founding members have learned, operating these large fleets, Anheuser-Busch, PepsiCo, UPS, they have thousands of trucks on the road. They understand the time commitment and the resources it takes to create a safe fleet. And they also understand that they're sharing the road with everyone else. And they want to make the roads as safe as possible for their drivers. And so they want to bring their best practices to small to mid-sized fleets who don't have the time or the resources to create, a fleet safety program from scratch. So that's how this is all coming together. And we're really excited to bring it to Houston. We have our first cohort in New York City going on right now, and it's going really well. But we are asking for some things in return. And the biggest thing is just an active participation. All of these bullet points can be summed up into an active and enthusiasm participation in this program. You're going to get out of this program what you put into it. And we want to be there to help. And it is a time commitment, but I will emphasize that we have structured this program in a way that it will be spread out over a year. And we're very aware that smaller organizations could always use more time. So we've created this program with that in mind. Here's a timeline to help give you a better sense of this program, and broken out into major events. And I will note that weeks 1 through 5 and weeks 6 through 15 are a little more time heavy. Starting with the program, you have your leadership workshops, the management training. It's really gearing up this program, helping you build that foundation. And then, in week 15, we install the safety technology on your trucks. And from here, the training slowed down a little bit. The technology is running in the background, gathering data. And, we'll have check-ins, and we'll help you with different situations that come up, and, help you, work through any challenges. And as this program continues through the remaining parts of the year. Time is a luxury, as everyone on this call knows. And so in the gray on the left-hand side of the slide, the average time spent handling on a crash, the aftermath of a crash, is 35 hours. And this is assuming that no one has been killed or seriously injured in this crash. So it is very time intensive to take care of a crash, just dealing with insurance, figuring out what happened, repairing the vehicles, all these things can add up. In the green on the right side, time spent on this program, we've approximated it. It will probably be 37 hours total. And for every $1 spent on improving workplace safety earns $3 in returns. And so this is, a proven out industry return rate on building safety cultures within organizations. And this return comes in a variety of means. One of the biggest is less turnover with drivers. The drivers, when they feel appreciated, they know that their safety is important within the organization, they tend to stick around those organizations longer. And so that's less time you have to retrain drivers, retrain new employees. And this really can help from top down within your organization. And another way to look at this program, yes, it's focused on safety, but it also has a lot of workforce development aspects to it as well. A lot of these tools that you and your employees will get working through this program will be applicable to any professional career, working with data, working with technology, learning how to implement change within an organization, learning how to build a sustainable safety culture. All of these things are tools that can spill over into other aspects of running a business. So the cost of inaction is very high. And looking at the bottom here, the average crash costs about $16,000. If someone's injured in that crash, it jumps up to 74. And if someone is killed in a crash, it can easily exceed $500,000. So, just looking at it financially, this can be very expensive, rolling the dice and not having any safety training or safety program within your organization. So, we're a little biased here at Together for Safer Roads, but we really think this is a great deal. And, we're really excited to bring it to Houston. So the cost of inaction continued. So not to pick on Houston, every city, particularly in America with, high driving rate and roads, it can be problematic, and Houston streets are very deadly. So these are some, very recent headlines within the last year. And, it's exciting that the city of Houston is taking this on and saying, yes, our roads are dangerous and we're addressing this with Vision Zero. And one of the ways that you can get involved with Vision Zero is applying to our Focus on Fleet Safety program and, building out a safe fleet to help make the roads in Houston safer for everyone. So how to apply? This application process is very short. It'll take, 5, maybe 10 minutes to fill it out. And the main qualifications are small to mid-sized fleet, so 2 to 100 vehicles, class 2 and above vehicle. Like Dave mentioned, we have some vehicles in our New York cohort that don't fit that criteria. So if your vehicles don't fit this criteria, please apply anyway, because we'd love to have that conversation and help you out. So if you're operating the fleet, we encourage you to apply. And then the last and most important qualification is just must be motivated to improve safety, and putting in that time commitment and building the safety culture and learning how to use technology. So if you're willing to do that, this is the program for you. We would love to help. And after this webinar, we will send you an email with a link to the application. Friday, March 26th is the application deadline. And I'm leaving my contact information there below. Please reach out if you have any questions, comments, concerns. I'd love to answer them, and I'm happy to hop on the phone, talk about the program more. Any questions are welcome. So speaking of questions, now I'd like to open it up to the Q&A portion.
Great, David, we've had a couple questions in the chat, and one of them has been answered, but I just want to bring it to the forefront for anyone who may have had the same question. Regarding small fleet vehicles, can you just kind of reiterate, what does that mean when you say small?
So yeah, this can range from a box truck, a large van, sprinter vans, small ambulance, for non-medical emergencies, up to large dump trucks and trash, hauling, waste removal vehicles. So there is a very wide range of vehicles that we'll accept into this program.
Will you accept 18-wheelers?
If the 18-wheelers are in a fleet with other size vehicles, then yes. And if they're operating, a couple, we'd love to have that conversation. I'd encourage, if someone's operating 18-wheelers, please apply, and we'll have that conversation.
Okay, great. We have another question. Does this program apply to someone who is looking to partner with fleet companies?
Does this program? I don't see how it would hurt. Yeah, I think it definitely can. And, one of the things it really shows is that, you're a, serious organization committed to fleet safety. And that just adds a level of, professionalism that, I think would be attractive if you're planning on partnering with, other organizations and fleets.
Yeah, because we do have a lot of our certified firms. They have various in their businesses, and they do partner with various fleet companies in order to be able to do a project for the city of Houston or for other companies. And so that was what was behind that question. So great. So that's letting you guys know that if you do partner with fleet companies, definitely make sure you apply. Also, David, can you tell us, what about pickup trucks? Do pickup trucks qualify? If so, which ones?
That is a great question. So we tend to look for larger pickup trucks. If it's like an F-350, and if it's all geared out towards, sort of industrial work, then sure, they would apply. And, I would just, it's hard to have exact parameters on the program. And that's why I keep circling back to, please apply and let's have the conversation. Because it really, we just love to figure out what the business is and how you're operating it. And, we have an organization in New York that has 3 vehicles, and 2 of them are, large pickup trucks. So.
Definitely, definitely. And so another question is, will this program be only offered once here in Houston? Because we have a business owner who has just 1 vehicle right now, but they are intending on scaling up. And so when they do get to at least 2 vehicles, they do want to take part of this program. So are you going to bring this back to Houston again?
We would love to. So we have launched it in New York, and it's going great. And, we're excited to bring it to Houston. And our goal is to scale this program. So, I'm optimistic that we'll be able to offer it again. And I would encourage the person with 1 fleet or with 1 vehicle to apply, because, it'll be a little bit of a lead time gearing up this program. So who knows, when we are ready to install the technology, you might have that 2nd vehicle ready, and you'll be a great participant in the program.
Absolutely. So folks, who's telling you this is a great opportunity. This program is at no cost, and the application is quick and easy. So it does not hurt you to apply, because you don't want to miss out by not even trying. Another question is I don't have a DOT number. Is this a qualification?
That's a nice to have for us in this application process, and it is not a requirement. So if you do not have a DOT number, please apply. And that's just for us to look up any information on your fleet, but it's not a requirement.
Okay, great. That's all the questions I'm seeing right now in the chat. Demita, you're monitoring Facebook. Has anyone from Facebook posted anything?
Not that I've seen. I'll check again.
Okay. And so does anyone else have any questions? We had a lot of information shared, and we do know here in Houston, the traffic and the safety on the roads is a challenge. I didn't know it was that bad, Lauren. Thanks for telling us that. 6% of the streets account for 60%, and I thought we were doing well with the pandemic, and come to find out we are not. We had the highest deaths in the country during the thinned out, the ghost streets. So folks, this is really a great program and really great timing, and I'm so glad that we have the Houston Zero initiative, because we do really need to be more careful and be proactive on the roads. There was just something on the news today or yesterday about a major accident that killed an entire family. So fleet safety and just safety on our roads is tremendously important at this moment in time. And this program is a great opportunity. And so I did post the link to apply in the chat. So if you're interested, you can go ahead. Matter of fact, you can go ahead and start applying now. And you only have until Friday, March 26th, which I believe is next week. So time is flying by. Like I said, it's a great program. The Davids have laid out everything that this program is involving. And what I really like about it, what they've said, is that it has a workforce development program component for it. And professional development, is a costly bill to have, and this program is at no cost. So again, you get to save. All it is asking is for your investment into your company, and we are vulnerable right now with everything that's happened. So it is a great opportunity to take advantage of these no-cost programs that tremendously add value and will help you to grow and to scale your business. So I am looking, no more questions on the chat. Did anyone have a question that they wanted to ask verbally? No? Okay. Demita, anybody on Facebook say anything?
No, no questions on Facebook, but I did add the link for applications and deadline.
Awesome. So that means that everyone has their questions answered, and they did a phenomenal job of laying out the program. So David, Lauren, is there anything else you all wanted to add that you may have forgotten to say or just want to kind of hammer in and let our folks know about the program?
I'll just add one last thing, it's just, of course, encourage everyone to apply. And then with my email at the bottom of the page, please feel free to reach out and ask any questions if they come up after this program. And, I'm happy to talk and, take the time. So please don't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to Porscha is that, feel free to share the application around with other, businesses, peers, just get the word out. We would love to see a lot of applications, and to David's point, and to the point made earlier, we certainly will. We've made a long-term commitment to our partnership with Houston, so even if this isn't the right time for people, maybe it'll be the next time we run a cohort. So we definitely want to start to build those connections now and, take advantage of them in the future.
Excellent. And like you said, make sure you share this information out for those of you who are looking to partner with other companies who have fleets. Let them know about this, and you all together, begin to apply. And because sometimes when you're going through these programs, it's great to network with other folks who are going through the program at the same time. So if you're planning on working together, why not apply, both of you or all three of you, or how many ever folks you're working with, and you can go through this process together and just learn and build and grow from each other. So again, we really want to thank you for tuning into this informational session. We did record this, so we will have this available on our YouTube channel, so that if you want to go back and look at some of the information, as well as we are on Facebook Live, so it will always be on our Facebook page, which is Houston TXOBO. Right, Demita? I think that's right.
Yes, for Facebook, it's Houston. Sorry, it's Houston OBO.
Sorry, it's Houston OBO. So you can go to Houston OBO and it'll be on our Facebook page. You can go to our YouTube channel and it'll be on there probably sometime next week, and that's Houston TXOBO. We have a lot of social media pages, and it's sometimes hard to get those handles straight, but you have it now. And again, if you have any additional questions, you can always reach out to me and I can make sure I connect you with David, and Lauren, if you have any additional questions about the programming or about the initiative. So again, folks, thank you for tuning in and have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.